Welcome to another episode of Rockin' with Cam. I am your host, Kamrock Tovar. Before we start this episode, I would like to say thank you so much for all the positive feedback I've been receiving from the fans out there, and I hope I continue to deliver, and I will continue to improve on every single one of my podcasts. Today, I have a special opportunity to talk to a mentor in my life, which is pretty cool. So without further ado, Ted Parker, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing good, Cam. Thanks for having me.
Ted, I want to thank you so much for being my mentor. And for the people out there who don't know who Ted Parker is, would you like to give a quick background?
Sure. I'm Ted Parker. I'm co-president of Vibrant Health. Vibrant Health is a nutraceutical company or natural pharmaceutical company. We make nutritional supplements. We've been doing so for the past 32 years. The company was founded back in 1992 by a clinical nutritionist who actually went to this school. He studied at the University of Bridgeport, got his master's in clinical nutrition. He became very passionate about what he believed nutrition could become supplementally, but he believed that you had to put enough into a nutritional supplement for it to be effective, right?
Yeah.
Not a smidgen or a spattering of an ingredient, but a true effective potency. Uh, this way, the formula will do what you intend it to do, whether that's for general health and wellness or for a specific condition, it will work. So the goal here is if you're going to create nutritional supplements, create ones that work, right? Put enough into it. So that typically comes in the form of effective potencies and also comprehensive formulas. So when you look at our formulas, they are indeed very, very comprehensive. There's quite a bit of ingredients in there to support one's health.
For a little bit more background, what are some focuses that your supplement give to what someone would be missing on their daily diet?
It's a really good question. So, a lot of people think nutrition alone is enough, but what if you don't have good digestion, right?
Yep.
Can you have good nutrition if your digestive system is not working properly? The answer to that is no. So, digestion is also really important. Circulation, we have 70 trillion cells that make up who we are, and we need to feed all 70 trillion cells. So circulation becomes really important if I'm going to feed the cells at the very periphery of my body, and my fingertips, my toes, my hair, skin, nails. I mean, that's the periphery, right? So I need to feed them all. So circulation is vitally important. And then a robust immune system. A lot of people are now, since post-COVID, are really focused on their immune system. Well, at least they were during COVID. Um,
I don't
and
think they had a choice.
yeah, they didn't have a choice. But there is this kind of misconception that we only need to focus on our immune system when there's a pandemic or during cold and flu season. But your immune system is so powerful. I mean, it doesn't just help protect against the common cold or a flu. It actually helps protect against cancer and heart disease and Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. I mean, these are like deadly diseases. So really focusing on your immune system as kind of a natural, way of being, and a natural course of you just kind of eating and taking care of yourself and maybe taking some supplements that boost your immune system, getting good amount of rest, you will live longer.
What makes Vibrant Health different than any other supplement company out there? Because one of the things that I learned first about your company was the awards. You guys were award winning. So what sets Vibrant Health apart than the others?
So, I mean, without sounding too biased, we just make the best formulas that are available out there. But it really has to do with doing it in a way that's transparent. We list every ingredient by dose in every product we manufacture. So you can actually see what's in there. And when you actually look at what's in there, most people are gobsmacked. They look at it and they go, "How did you fit all this in there?" And we don't.
I am one of those people, by the
So
way.
you've seen the
Yeah.
formula. So yeah, I mean, it's when you do look at it, most people go, "Wow, that's a lot of stuff." Um, and it is because we realize that our biochemistry needs really good nutrition, really comprehensive, and it needs a lot of it because, if you look at the amount of servings of fruits and vegetables that we're supposed to take every day, It's between 12 and 15. And I don't know about you, but I don't eat 12 to 15 servings of vegetables a day.
Definitely not.
But if I can get four of them in a smoothie in the morning, right? If I could take 2 scoops of a powder, put it in my favorite smoothie in the morning, and drink that, well, I just knocked out a quarter, well, at least a third of what I need, right?
Yeah.
And I think that that's really where it is. It's really trying to get your body to experience a level of nutrition that only Paleolithic man actually had. I mean, Paleolithic man ate like so much fruit, vegetables, nuts, roots, whatever he can get his hands on. And the amount of nutrition we used to get even 100 years ago, when we actually were rotating crops properly, the food actually had more nutrients in it 100 years ago than it
Because
does
the
today.
soil was so much better back then as well.
The soil was better. We had better farming methods. We didn't use pesticides, herbicides, and other, contaminants.
Which is pretty crazy. You'd say that this is the most advanced that we've been as a society, right? Why do I feel like it's just more now that we are getting more sickness?
We're just because, all right, so there's a couple of things, right? There are obviously, depending on where you live, you could be living in a food desert. There are more people on this planet today than there ever have been. And that requires a machine, an operation of farming that can feed them. I mean, it just, and because of that, I don't think farming practices are being done properly. So, for example, if you grow potatoes in a field, the next harvest, you should not grow potatoes in that field because potatoes and every vegetable pulls a certain amount of nutrients out of the soil and they pull the same nutrients. So a potato will pull, I'm just going to give you zinc, for example, and I don't know this to be accurate, but if it were zinc that the potato will pull out of the soil, it's going to keep doing that constantly every time you plant it.
Yeah.
And so if you plant zucchini, zucchini will pull selenium out of the soil, right? And broccoli actually pulls zinc, but so every plant does a certain thing. So if you don't rotate the crops, you're stripping the soil from one particular or a certain number of particular nutrients.
That makes sense and obvious. How would you go about putting those nutrients back into the soil?
That's a really good question too. A lot of farmers, what they do is they leave the crop that's growing in there every now and then, and they let it go fallow. And what that means is that you just let whatever's there be. It will rot inside the soil. It will just stay in there, and you're not going to harvest it. And because it's you're not touching it, it replenishes the soil itself. Um, just allowing birds to come by and poop in the soil and and animals and rodents to do what they do,
Let nature do its
let
cycle.
nature's do a cycle, and it just kind of regenerates itself. If you leave it alone and just let the environment take care of it, it just comes back.
Nice. My next question, Ted, since you know that, I am on a journey to become a martial artist and I do a lot of sports, soccer. Um, you last time I went to your office, you had told me about to search up boron for joint health. Can you give a little bit of background to that? Because a lot of my friends who are martial artists will probably be watching it, and they'll also want to know how to take care of their joints.
Sure, sure. Well, when it comes to joint health, there are three things you need to do to rehabilitate joints. You need to reduce inflammation, which in many cases, if you're an athlete, you're inflamed at
Yeah.
times, right? I told you I just ran a 5K this morning. I ran 5K yesterday, so my joints are inflamed.
I just want to tell the people out there, he looks amazing.
Oh, wow.
He came in today. I was like, oh my goodness, I
You're
need
very,
to catch up.
you're very kind, man. It's a lot of hard work, I'll tell you that. But yeah, so you really need to, really cut down on inflammation. That's key because you can't rehabilitate and you can't heal if you're inflamed,
Yeah.
right? Number two, you need to hydrate. It's amazing how many people today are dehydrated, and that impacts your joints. It impacts your cells. It impacts everything in your body. But primarily, your joints are fluid areas in your body that require hydration. So it's really important. And then lastly, you really want to rebuild, right? So if you think about, as you get older, you're a young man now, but as you're getting older, you start to break down cartilage and connective tissue, and it happens to all of us at the age of 35. For some reason, that age, 35 years old, is when we all start to break down
Isn't that
cartilage.
also the same age for what is it? I can't pronounce the name. The pregnancy thing.
Um,
Geriatric pregnancy, right?
oh,
That's in women. I think it happens around age 35 as well.
not really sure.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly
Anyways.
the year
Mm-hmm.
that happens, but in any event, so yeah, so 35, we also have to break down cartilage and connective tissue. So, and you could see it evidently in, your skin, your sometimes your hair starts to thin. Definitely, you start to break down cartilage and connective tissue in your joints. And that's when the degeneration gets to the point where, at some point thereafter, you can end up in a situation where you're bone on nerve, right?
Yeah.
And that's when people start to have significant issues with their joints, and they go, "Man, my knees are really bothering me," because you degenerated to the point where you're at bone on nerve, right? And ultimately, what many people face is bone on bone, and that's when it's irreversible. But you can rehabilitate your joints if get enough collagen in your diet. That rebuilds cartilage and connective tissue. It's really important. So taking collagen every day, type 1, type 2 collagen, has loaded in amino acids, and amino acids are the building blocks of cartilage and connective tissue. That's what you need to build cartilage and connective tissue.
Mm,
Things that are going to help hydrate, because I said hydration is really important. Hyaluronic acid helps with hydration. Glucosamine, chondroitin, and MSM help maintain hydration within your joints. And then reducing inflammation, you're going to want to take turmeric, right? Turmeric's going to help
turmeric. Yeah.
help reduce inflammation, um, but also boron, which you
Yeah.
asked me about a moment ago.
Yeah. Boron. Like. I did a lot of research when it comes to building joint health because I myself I noticed that arthritis runs really deep in my family,
Yeah, mine too.
and I've noticed my body already deteriorating. And also, like, I am pushing my body to a point that, is it's pretty high, what I'm doing with it. So I spent a lot of time doing research on what to do for my body because I know that, like, I went through a couple injuries which I had to do my own rehab, so I couldn't afford the supplements and things like that. So I researched a lot on like what to eat and things like that. And that was one of the questions I wanted to ask is, yes, we have understood the formulas and things to put into supplements to give us that extra boron, that extra
Hmm.
iron, that extra collagen that we need. But is there any other foods that you could typically eat to give you the same or somewhat a little bit of that health benefit?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot, but again, I touched on earlier, like how low the nutrients are in our foods today. I mean, the research that we do at Vibrant Health really kind of teaches us that, yeah, absolutely, eating right is the way to go. You're going to get more nutrients from fruits and vegetables than you're going to get from anything else. And we just don't eat enough fruits and vegetables in this
Yeah.
country. However, because the fruits and vegetables that we eat today don't have the nutrients that they once did, it's important to supplement. A green superfood is a great thing to do to supplement, right? Taking a scoop of green powder like that has, wheatgrass and oatgrass and barley grass and broccoli and spinach and kale and,
Yeah.
all of those wonderful vegetables, and also some fruits for antioxidants. But you know there are so but then and on top of that, there are some nutrients that are so scarce, even when you consume lots of fruits and vegetables, and boron is a perfect example of that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
boron is not from earth. I know, right? It's a little bizarre, like, where is it from? So
Krypton.
yeah, Krypton has boron. No, it's crazy because when you look in the Earth's mantle and in most of the crust, you don't see boron. It's only on the surface, right? And it was delivered here via meteorite over billions of years. So as meteorites struck this planet, many of them contain boron. And so there are certain areas in this on this planet where boron concentration is higher and
Than
was
others.
than others. And you'll notice that the countries that have high boron have the lowest incidence of arthritis.
Can you give me a name of a country or a location?
Yeah, so Israel and certain parts of Australia have high concentrations of boron, and because of that, um, the populace there consumes anywhere between 20 plus milligrams of boron a day, right? Their incidence of arthritis in those countries is less than 1%.
That sounds amazing.
Less than 1% of the population where boron is high in the soil and also in the water, subsequently the food, arthritis is almost non-existent.
That is crazy.
And conversely, where boron is lacking in the soil, a perfect example of that is Jamaica. The island of Jamaica is virtually non-existent. There's no boron in the soil. Subsequently, none in the food. The incidence of arthritis is over 20%. That means over no, actually, it's higher than that. Sorry, it's 70%. So so here you have one country in Israel that has less than 1% of the population has arthritis. Their
Super
concentration of
high
boron is
boron.
high. And then you have the country of Jamaica, on the other hand, right, polar opposite, who has no boron in the soil whatsoever. They get less than 1 milligram a day, you know, and 7 out of 10 people have arthritis.
Yeah. So getting into your age, that you look very fit. Seems that you do take care of your health pretty well. What does your diet consist of?
So my diet is varied. It's mostly a Mediterranean-based diet, which, if you do your research on longevity, you'll see that Mediterranean diet is, probably the best diet for you to eat.
It seems the most well-rounded and less kind of I feel like it's less restrictive.
It is less restrictive, definitely. I mean, I like to eat my protein, right? So
Yeah.
I am not a vegetarian. I have and I've gone and I still do to this day go for a period of a year, sometimes 2 years, where I eat no meat. I'll have fish, but I won't eat meat. I don't think I actually once cut fish out of my diet, but I just felt like I wasn't getting enough
What's
protein.
the longest that you've gone without eating any protein or any meat?
I've gone 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah.
I did 2 months, and
Hmm.
I will say that is the best my body has ever felt.
Yeah,
Believe it or not.
no, you'll feel great, but then you'll go like a period, and many people experience this. You'll go a period of a year, maybe 18 months, and you'll start to crave animal protein.
Yeah.
And it's not uncommon. I mean, we didn't evolve as herbivores, right? We didn't evolve as carnivores.
So that is some of the arguments out there that we based on how our molars are made, that
Mhm.
we're made to grind plants and herbs and fruits and stuff like that, that we're not supposed to be eat meat because we're not born with canines unlike certain animals. So what do you think about that?
Well, that's absolutely right. I mean, for us during the evolution of man, we did not get animal protein on a regular basis. I mean, we had to hunt it, we had to kill it, and that was dangerous business, right? So, I mean, because it was either, you either kill or be killed, right?
Yeah.
So, most of the time, there's a wonderful movie out called Chimpanzee. It was filmed like, I don't know, 15 years ago. And it basically shows chimpanzees, going around the forest and foraging and they'll go from one berry tree, they'll spend like days eating berries, right? Then they march on and they find a nut bush. They'll spend days eating nuts, right? And then they'll do a coordinated attack, and it's not often, but I don't know how, maybe once a month, I don't know, maybe once every other month, they'll do a coordinated attack on monkeys, right?
The
The
chimps.
chimpanzees will do a
Hmm.
coordinated attack on monkeys. I don't know, something in them says, I need protein. And they'll send one chimpanzee over there, one chimpanzee over there, one up the tree over there, and they'll kind of triangulate and capture this monkey and devour him in like seconds, and then it's all over. And then they go back to their
Berries and
berries and nuts and other fruits and things they can eat.
that's
And
wild.
yeah, and they do that all the time. But at some point, there's this thing in them that goes, I need meat.
Okay, do you think it's a lack of, like, for example, if I don't see any berry trees or anything like that, but I am able to see that monkey crossing the branches over there where it's, very much eye-catching, then me having to look for berries and things like that. So do you think at a point it's just a matter of scarcity, which is the reason why they made them, do the cannibalism, or
Well, it's not really cannibalism just
well,
per
it's not,
se,
yeah.
because monkeys are not chimpanzees. I mean, we're closer to chimpanzee than a chimpanzee is to a monkey. I mean,
I didn't know that.
we actually share like 99% of the exact genetic
Makeup.
genome as a chimpanzee. But no, I think it's just, again, your body craves certain things. You know, your body will tell you that it's lacking protein because you'll just start craving it. You know, I think that's the best example I can get. I don't know why, but it just, and how chemically it does it, but it just, starts to crave it every now and then.
Speaking of the body, which is my favorite thing about my experience that I'm going through right now, as in life, is the amount of changes that my body can make. It is the greatest vehicle that I could ever like possibly dreamed of. I get hurt, like I've torn so many things throughout my body, and it amazes me because I look at it now and I'm just like, it's right back to normal, if not stronger than it was before.
Are you
So,
saying you're Wolverine now? Is that
oh,
what?
100%. 100%. Let me see. I've broken a toe. I've torn Achilles. I've torn my quad. I've torn my hamstring. I've torn my groin. Broke fingers. Shoulder. Pop
Hmm.
shoulder. There's so many things that I've done to my body, and for it to be in this condition, where even though it's not 100% perfect, but is damn near perfect. So speaking of, the question I wanted to ask is, what do you think the purpose of life is? That, you're given a vehicle to travel the world and you're having these experiences. Like, do you think there is a purpose, or the purpose is to just experience this?
No, I think that there definitely is a purpose. I mean, you're right about being given this incredible spacesuit, right? And
Yeah,
that's kind of what I look at my body as, this spacesuit, because we're traveling through on this, little blue pearl, if you will, throughout space. And, my son and I were, I was just showing him because he's like, "What are you watching?" I'm always watching YouTube, and I'm a huge YouTuber. And he's like, "What are you watching now?" And I think at the time I was watching something on the observable, uh, a video on the observable universe and how like massive it is. And then when you start to watch things like this, you realize that we're on one planet within the Milky Way that has, billions and billions of stars, and, planets that haven't even been discovered. But then you say, all right, well, that's one galaxy. How many galaxies are there? Well, there are millions of galaxies, hundred, tens of millions. I think it's in the billions of galaxies that are out
that are
there.
just
And my son was like, honey, he started getting into it. It's like, how did we know they're, and, it was these telescopes that we sent out, and now we're seeing it. We're seeing the Hubble Space Telescope and the James Webb Space Telescope. We're seeing, galaxies that, are, the light is just reaching us, but there are like billions of light
so
years
many.
away, billions of light years. So I start thinking, well, I watch things like this, and I start thinking about like, why, where am I in this universe? Why is it important? Um, and then I start to think about, and what impact am I having? What is life all about? But then I start to think about what is the smallest part of me, right? One of the smallest parts of me is a cell, right? Atoms, we're all made up of atoms, which is quite interesting because the only source of atoms in the universe are exploding stars.
Yeah.
So we're essentially stardust. So, but then I start thinking about our cells and I say, well, every cell is important. And all it takes is one cell to go bad and the whole organization, right?
Goes bad.
The whole organism, sorry, goes bad. I mean, that's how cancer spreads. It spreads with one bad cell. So the same thing can be said for one bad person, right? One evil person can really be damaging to the entire ecosystem, right? So I think that we're playing a part here. We're part of a larger ecosystem, but it's important for us to be good stewards. Right? It's really, really important to be a good steward because, again, one cell impacts the other, good or bad, and we're doing our job. We're playing our role.
How amazing is it? Like you said, there's so many billions of galaxies and Milky Ways that there's nothing else that mixed up together to create something like we have here.
That we know
That we know of, right? I mean, like we've
of.
been searching, but as of so far, like we are like this is the hotspot. This is
Well,
the place to
it's just
be.
because the universe is so expansive. We couldn't. I don't know. Send this video to you because there's no way you can actually get on that we know of. I'm sure there is a way that you can get on a ship and go anywhere close enough to be able to experience anything. Our star, just to get to the star within our universe, that will take you 1,000 years to reach in a spaceship.
Yeah,
1,000 years.
that is a long time.
I mean, it's insane. Like the next closest galaxy is the Andromeda galaxy, and I think that'll take, to reach the Andromeda galaxy with today's technology. And again, if I remember correctly from this video, would probably take, you know, 10,000 years.
With any special YouTube channels that you watch particularly? Because
Mm.
I'm a huge fan of Art. I don't know if you know them.
Mm-mm.
They make like animations and they talk about certain topics as we're discussing about the Milky Ways and the distances between the things in the universes and things like that. So, but yeah, any
Yeah,
special ones?
no, but send that to me. I'll be
We'll
interested
do.
in looking at it. No, I kind of, I think because of the algorithm of YouTube, it knows kind of what I like, and it's always sending me
It just sends
stuff.
you the right things.
It's all the cookies.
It was so cool. I had the chance to speak to a data analyst, which she was one of my teachers, Miss Sharon Crotcherville, and she talked about like how they collect the cookies, how the YouTube gives you the algorithms, and where they get the information from, and that was like a super cool thing to learn as
Mm,
well. Speaking of the algorithms for you, so it just knows when the right thing to give you, man.
they do. They keep feeding me what I want, which is
But yeah, before we get to the end of our discussion, I would like to touch upon Startup Westport, man. Can you give the people out there a little bit of information on what that is and what is the mission of Startup Westport?
yeah. So Startup Westport was founded by Jay Norris and Cliff Serlin. And Jay and Cliff met in Westport, and I think they both realized that they're both tech entrepreneurs. They're both, well, Cliff I think is more in finance if I remember correctly, but I think he's also invested in tech. And Jay is clearly a tech entrepreneur. He's a CEO of Guest Software. He is one of the founding members of Blacklight. So he has a lot of organizations that are all technology related. And he realized that there were many people within Westport who, for one reason or another, found themselves in tech. And whether it's, as a tech as an entrepreneur or in being involved in fintech, which Cliff is involved in, they realized that, wow, this is kind of a hub of technology, maybe not in the sense where all of these businesses are here in Westport, but the people live in Westport, right? So they may have their business in Manhattan or wherever, or Connecticut. But they thought it would be a good idea to bring some of these entrepreneurs together, right? So they started Startup Westport. They realized that there was a lot of interest in it. And if you go, and as you have been, to the Westport Library, you'll see that there are a lot of events because the Westport Library is a sponsor of Startup Westport, one of the sponsors, um, or partners, I should say. And so recently, what they've done is they've opened up Startup Westport to expand beyond just the tech sector. So it really is encompassing all entrepreneurs within the area to come and to share ideas and concepts. Um, yeah, and what's interesting about that is I've kind of looked at it and I looked at our business, and I don't know if I share with you, but we actually bought our company.
It, what does
So
that mean exactly?
it wasn't founded by my wife and I.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you did something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So we bought the company, and when I explained, because Cliff, when I first met him, he's like, so what do you do? And I kind of told him, what we did. We make nutritional supplements, and but we didn't. He says, oh, we that's a great story. So when did you found the company? I said, we didn't found it. It was founded by this clinical nutritionist. So he said, "Oh, you're an entrepreneur through acquisition," and I didn't know that was a thing. That there are entrepreneurs out
Who
there that
just
just buy a
buys?
company
Yeah.
but they're very entrepreneurial, and it's a startup, if in a way, to some degree, not from scratch, but they're taking it from really small company to a larger company, and that's kind of what we do. But I also explained to him I think tech is kind of involved in everything. I think when it comes to nutritional science, it's kind of technology.
Yeah. The
Um,
research and the
it's
data and all of that.
yeah, you got to do the research, the data, and I always look at our formulas because they evolve as our understanding of nutritional science evolves. So we started out with version one on a particular product; it'll go up to version 20 at some point. And I look at it like software for the body, or like an iPhone upgrade. You don't have an iPhone 5. I'm sure you don't.
No, I
So
yeah,
I feel
gotta
like
upgrade.
yeah, everything should be evolving. I really think that static, whether it's in technology or being static in nutrition, is just makes we don't advance that way.
Okay.
So that's Startup Westport. It is a great organization. They have a lot of events. You can go on to startupwestport.com or .org. I'm not really sure which one, but try it.
Yeah.
Google it. And actually, we're going to an event. You just
Yep.
informed me that
June
there is
4th, right?
June
Yeah.
4th. There's going to be a social event at La Plage in Westport. And that's
That's
going to
is that
be,
is that the beach that you were speaking of,
yeah.
right?
So, right where the Campo Beach is, but before you get to Campo Beach, there's actually Longshore Golf Course.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
right,
I used to train over there
oh,
all the
okay.
time. Yeah.
Golf?
No, 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 no. Soccer.
That's soccer.
Yeah, we used to
Okay.
do like certain sessions on the beach and in the parking lots.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah, on the weekends, morning runs, like club runs.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
used to be pretty
awesome.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be at the very end of the golf course. In the back, there is La Plage, which is a restaurant that's right on the water, and they have a really nice outdoor backyard patio where I think a lot of startup Westport folks are going to get together, and maybe some new people interested in it. So
No,
it's
I am very grateful I could spread the word because
yeah,
I think this is a great opportunity. Again, this was through Startup Westport that I met Ted. So yeah, you've been teaching me a lot. You've been very grateful to answer a lot of questions that I've been having, whether it's personal life related or business related as well. So I'm very thankful for Startup
oh
Westport, and I
man.
hope more people will take advantage of this opportunity. Also as well, can you give the people out there something to look forward to at Vibrant Health?
Yeah, so
What's new, what's up and coming, any new products you guys have coming out or
before I tell you about that, I just want to say that it is an honor to be your mentor. I really haven't mentored a lot in my life, and I feel bad about that. But having the opportunity to meet you at Startup Westport, I think was amazing. I think you got a bright future. I mean, you're doing all the right things, and you know what? You're forever interested and inquisitive, and you want to learn. And I think that that's awesome. And you also don't stop. You
Yeah.
just keep going, man. And that's amazing. I think it's amazing because you just you're like this sponge and you're taking it all in, and it's only going to make you as you get older and experience more things in life, you're just going to be an awesome individual,
Thank you.
a great steward.
Appreciate that, man.
All right. So, what to look forward to at Vibrant Health? So, we are a 32-year-old brand of nutritional supplements. We are not a household name by any stretch of the imagination. I think we are becoming more well known. We are a family owned and operated company, an entity, wholly family owned and operated. So, we don't have any investors. So our growth has been slow. It's been methodical. It has been purposeful. We just want to make the best products we can. We believe in education before marketing. So, speaking of marketing, we are going through a rebrand, and it's the first rebrand that we've. And you were part of it. That's right. You were came to the office. Cam came to the office and sat in on a marketing meeting where we actually talked about evolving the look of the brand. Now,
So excited for the people to see what you guys have in plan. It
oh,
looks
and
so
you
cool.
haven't even seen the latest one. I got to show you the latest. Yeah,
Oh,
because
yeah, I definitely want to
you
see
want to
that
see the
one.
latest mock. It's awesome. So yeah, I mean, it's we been an evolutionary company when it comes to the formulations and our philosophy on nutrition. It just doesn't stop. Because we don't feel like science is static. The under maybe the science is static, but our understanding of nutritional science continues to evolve for everybody all the time. It's
Yeah.
like our understanding of life in the world, right? So I'm glad that we're finally doing it because it kind of lends itself to who we are as an organization. An evolutionary, dynamic by design, formula obsolescence focused organization. So we're finally being dynamic in our look, and I'm really excited about it.
It's awesome. Before we go, Ted, you have the opportunity to give a shout out. Thank you to anybody out there.
Oh, wow. All right. So I wouldn't be sitting here if it weren't for Jay Norris, who is a gentleman who, the first person I actually met in Westport and, kind of introduced me to everyone here. He's kind of been, a champion for a lot of people who are new to Westport, new to the town. I told him, I said, dude, man, you need to run for mayor or something because he's just
He definitely has the personality and seems to have the right mindset as well.
oh, he
Yeah.
does, man. He's always putting, people under his wing, so to speak, and he's just a selfless dude that just wants to see progress happen within his community. And man, he's an amazing guy. So I want to give a shout out to Jay Norris. I want to give a shout out to Cliff Serlin for starting Startup Westport. And I want to give a shout out to all of the members of the Westport 10, which is like the Westport 100 now, which is a organization of black men that Jay kind of found. I think Jay's been in Westport maybe like 3 or 4 years now, and during that period of time, every time he sees a black man, a male in the city, he'll approach him and say, "Hey, do you know about this organization that we started? Like to get your information." So I call him my nickname for Jay is Tubbs, which is
Tubbs.
Tubbs. That's short for Harriet Tubman.
Oh, okay. All
So
right.
it's like the Underground Railroad. He'll see somebody, be like, "Hey, I want to talk to you," and he brings them into the circle, and it's really pretty awesome.
Nice. And I want to give a shout out to the University of Bridgeport for having our Student Entrepreneur Center, allowing me the opportunity to even shoot this podcast here. That is where our location is at. And also giving me the opportunity to even have a chance to go to Startup Westport, be surrounded by all these amazing individuals, people like you who want to see a better for the community. And I hope I can help forward the message. And yeah, thank you so much. And I
Yeah.
think this was an awesome episode, man.
All right, Cam.
Definitely looking to
Thank you.
have you again. All right, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you
Cam.
very much, and
All
I'll
right.
see you next time.
Thank you.